Our next video clip is going to deal with the miscellaneous functions menu selections. Located within here are several key input informational guides that will help you along in getting to know a little bit more about your computer and the way it's residing and dealing with the SIMS2 program. The first input is the About Sims menu selection. When you look at the About Sims, there are several things that are important to note. First of all, obviously the contact information is there for a reason. Your serial number of your program is going to be located there, along with the version number and the date the program was assembled, the capacity of the program, and an expiration date if there happens to be one. If you're using a security device for your program, there will be no expiration date, or if you're using the demo version. But if you don't have the security device, there might be an expiration date. You're going to want to check that and make sure that you get an update before that time happens. The second entry in the miscellaneous functions menu is the computer status. Here we have some very valuable information. This is an MS-DOS based operating system. In our case, it happens to be Windows XP, but it answers up with the same version number as the original DOS 5.0. We know that we're dealing in text and the 80 by 25, so it's 80 characters wide, 25 lines high. The screen is color. The usable memory, 640 kilobytes for our DOS program. We can also see if we have EMS capability. Any central station above 5,000 accounts is going to want to have EMS capability. This is covered in other videos and other technical information. Should you have an NT type system, there is a video for setup of the NT that will help you get this EMS. Anyway, if you're a central station above 5,000 accounts, you're definitely going to want to have this. We identify how many diskette drives, what the capacity is, what the size is, the number of printer ports and serial ports, and so forth. The starting drive letter, the current drive, and the ending drive letter, these are relatively insignificant. At one time with peer-to-peer networks, they had a little bit more status, I guess, and importance than they do right now. Next is the disk drive status. With today's size drives, there no longer is an ability within the NT operating system in our normal size calls to deal with these 80 and 100 gigabyte drives. I think that really stops somewhere around 15 gigabytes. The one we're demonstrating on here has a 120 gigabyte drive. So you're not, if you're dealing on a local level, going to get the right kind of figures here that you would expect. But you will get bytes per sector. You're going to get the number of sectors per cluster, the number of bytes per cluster. The rest of it is beyond a 16-bit integer and therefore can't be provided in a DOS type environment. There is free space. If you have a Novell, you're going to get accurate figures in here. Just so you know, if you want to take a quick look at yours, I think you'll be pleased with the figures that you get in there. There is the ability to reindex history files. There are circumstances to where you would want to reindex a history file. For example, you've deleted an account and something happened, you had to place the account back into the system, and you wanted to get his history back so that it would match up to all his zones and everything. You would have to reindex it, which is nothing more than rebuilding the indexing. This is not modifying the history, but it's rebuilding the indexing. When you go into here, there'll be an F2 pop-up window. I can select the 4th of January. It's obviously a very small file. When I hit it, it's going to be gone faster than probably we can see it. But you can reindex it from that standpoint. The only place that you can reindex the current week of history is on the primary system. Otherwise, you'll get this message that says, can't leak current week's history. So if you go to the primary, then you'll be able to relink that. But do note that if you're on the primary, linking history, regenerating files, running reports, it will not be processing signals. It will be storing signals, but the processing will be delayed until such time as those functions are completed. Under the set receiver modem selections, we talked a little bit about the display interface signals. If you go to the primary, this is where SIMS personnel and support staff will send you in order to monitor a signal that is coming in from a receiver so that we get a clear understanding of the way it's being projected in. There are times that we're going to have to ask you to go to this section. Please be patient. We understand that it is not easy for you to get this information. It's time consuming. But without it, there's no possibility that we can help you or assist you with today's types of receivers and their multi-formats and so forth. There is the ability to log in and out of the system here. So here I can change who my login is. I can re-log in. This is also available from the traffic display, the login system. I'm going to go on and just re-log back in. There is program status. A very important thing here. Program status, many times support personnel are going to send you here. It's got some very valuable information in it. First, obviously, you can see that the number of available accounts. Your SIM systems is based on the capability or the capacity of a certain number of accounts. In our demo, we have a capacity of 50. On this demo I'm working on, I have 25 free slots. My account slot allocation, that's my zone info dat file, is 50% full. I'm sorry, my account file dat is 50% full. 50 total, 25 used, 25 unused, 50% full. My zone info is my zone info dat file. He is currently 56% full. Contacts is 51% full. It's nice if these figures are close. It's not required, but it just simply means if they're close, then you are balancing out having plenty of room with the concept of having enough room. The recurring here, we have very few in the demo, so it's very low, equipment, etc. Now, let's talk about alarms on the entry stack. If I am on the primary system, I am constantly receiving signals in from the outside world. When I receive those signals in from the outside world, they're put into a temporary stack which then interfaces with the foreground program. So it comes receiver into the interface, placed in an intermediate position or entry stack, pulled out, and then processed. This is a place I can go and see what kind of things are currently waiting. Now, in addition to new signals coming in, I'm also having to process existing signals that are on delay. Now, if you can bear with me for a moment here, I'm going to create a signal that is going in turn to create some other things. We'll take and create a code 3, and we'll just create a code 6. That's two signals. Now, they were processed immediately, and they've come to my traffic display there for operator action. But there are many other things that take place also. And two of the things that take place are still on the entry stack, and I can see two items on the entry stack. I can see that item number 1 is account number 1, Tequila Willie's. It's an unrestored for the zone 3, and it has 284 seconds left. So I've got a countdown in process right now that has 284 seconds left. If I want to update that figure, I hit my right arrow key and it'll update it. If I want to look at the second entry on the stack, I can use my down arrow key, and if you can visualize in your mind, I've got a single line there that's just moving up and down this stack, so I can go see how many ever ones that I want to. The second one is an unrestored on zone 6 that's got 558 seconds left. So if you ever would like to just look through here, you can see all the things that are taking place when openings come in, when closings come in. We put in messages away for 60 seconds, so I know that it could be a break on exit and things like that to assist the operator in determining what's going on. So we have a lot of markers that get put in there at all times. There are system stacks, clock stacks, and serial stacks, and this just shows the percentage of usage of those stacks. A very important figure here is the dynamic memory available. We know that we have 640K worth of space that's initially for a DOS program. What we don't know is there are other things that get loaded up there other than just the SIMS2 program. There are drivers for CD-ROMs. There are high memory managers that get loaded up there, and so on and so forth. So out of that 640K that's up there, I currently have another 115K available out of it. So if I wanted to just give a little thought process to this, out of the 640, 525K are being used by the SIMS2 program or other resident programs, and I have 115 KB left. This 115 KB is going to be used by the SIMS2 program for Windows, for me opening up new displays. If I start getting heavy traffic in, I'm going to expand this FIFO that we talked about a moment ago, the alarms on entry stack, so that I've got the capability to do some dynamic changes in the program. You may not execute your SIMS2 program if there's less than 40 kilobytes. The more, the better. Probably you should always be a little alerted if you've got less than 60. 115 is very good. So if you're in the upper range, if you're above 100 KB, you're absolutely in, the term might be Fat City. If you're less than that, if you go less than 60, it might be something to be a little bit concerned about. And less than 40, the program won't execute, so you know that you'll have at least 40 if you're running. The last one here is terminal hours online. This just lets you know how long the program has been running. In this case, we've been running this program for 2 hours, and if I exit out, go back in, it'll be 0 and it restarts the timer all over again. This is just so that a lot of times we put things in programs so if we're looking at a program when we're trying to help a customer with some sort of support question or problem, we're going to go and look at all these things to try to get a complete picture of what's going on. The last entry down here is the select program language. I have the ability to select other languages. Our standard demo, I think we provide it with Spanish and with English. I can take a second and go down here and say I'm going to select Spanish. So when I come back to my SIMS2 main menu, it's now in Spanish. If I go back there and select another language and come back, it'll be in a different language. But this gives the program the ability to change the different languages, and I think from the previous SIMS2 overview you remember that this is simply accomplished by editing the overlays and then writing them back out. So there's no real magic to this. This is not something that has to be done. You can leave it in this language that's there, but there are other language overlays available that you might want to investigate should this be something that you desire. Okay, we'd like to thank you for viewing this clip, and have a good day.